It's Book Break's first pub crawl!
Cheers!
I'm here with the lovely Sanne from Books and Quills.
Hi!
And we are going to go all around London's most literary pubs today. And if you want to follow along, I will put a link to our route below in the description box so you can go and see where we're going to visit. But we're starting here. This is the Flask in Highgate, and we're following in the footsteps of a lot of poets that used to come here, like John Keats. They have this old tradition called swearing on the horns, and we know that definitely Byron took part in it. I don't know for sure that Keats did, but I'm going to say that he probably did.
Probably.
Him and Shelley probably came here together. So we couldn't get the real horns that they use here today. So instead, I've got some
Perfect replacement
makeshift horns.
Alright, how do we swear on these horns?
So you're going to swear that you will drink only strong beer unless you like weak beer better.
Okay, I will drink only strong beer unless I like weak beer better.
And you will eat only white bread unless you like brown bread better.
I will only eat white bread unless I like brown bread better. That is a tongue twister.
We've done it. We've followed in the footsteps of Keats and Byron.
To the next location.
Cheers. Let's go. And just around the corner from the Flask, don't miss the Spiards Inn, which has a great literary history of its own. It's actually mentioned in the Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens, and it was a favourite of Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. In fact, it's even rumoured that he based some of this story off ghost stories he heard from his time spent in this pub. This is the Jerusalem Tavern, which a very important literary figure used to call his local, Dr. Johnson, the writer of the first modern English dictionary. But while we're here, I thought we could play a Dr. Johnson themed game.
Yeah.
So, thanks to the dictionary, we now know the definitions of all sorts of words. So, have you ever played Boulder Dash before?
I have not.
Okay, it's a great game where we're going to look through the dictionary, but I've got a little list here of like weird words you might not have heard of from the dictionary.
Yeah.
Look up the meanings and write down both the real meaning and some fake answers. So
Okay.
we're both going to do it, and then we're going to see if we can pick the right answer from each other's lists.
I'm going to be really bad at this, but I'll try.
We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go.
Okay, so my word is, I don't know if this is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
Googwaruk? Googwaruk.
Googwaruk.
Yeah.
How do you
Think
spell that?
Google.
Googwaruk.
Waruk.
Okay.
Okay, so is that a wise man who would come in for town disputes?
Okay.
Googwaruk.
Googwaruk.
A tool used for wood carving?
Okay.
Or
Googwaruk.
a type of bird from Australia?
Ooh, a googwaruk. I feel like they all make sense. I really like the idea that it's an Australian bird, but I feel like that's because I'm thinking of a kookaburra. I'm going to say a googwaruk is a man that was called in for town disputes.
Incorrect, it is a bird.
No! That was a good one. Okay, so you get a point. I have to buy you a drink.
Okay, perfect.
Right, my word I picked is piblocto.
Piblocto?
Piblocto.
Okay.
Yeah. So, is piblocto, number one, the feeling of knowing a word on the tip of your tongue but not remembering it?
Okay.
Piblocto.
Yeah.
Number two, drinking before noon. Or number three, the condition when a dog gets exposed to cold weather and goes into a frenzy.
That last one.
Yeah, it is.
Is it right? Yeah.
Great, okay, should we go on to our next location?
Yeah, next one, let's go.
The next stop on our map is one of London's most popular literary pubs, but this, the Old Cheshire Cheese, famously don't allow any filming inside, so I can't actually show you around, but we're just going to have a little peer down this alley and think about quite how many literary figures have walked down here before. Mark Twain, Alfred Lord Tennyson, Arthur Conan Doyle and P.G. Wodehouse were all apparently regulars here. And Charles Dickens even gives directions to it in A Tale of Two Cities. Down Ludgate Hill to Fleet Street, and so up a covered way into a tavern. Well, this is that tavern. But for now, we're going past it on to our next stop. This is the French House. So this place has got some great history. Charles de Gaulle is believed to have written his speech here in this pub, rallying the French people, but it's also got some literary connections.
Yes.
Dylan Thomas was here, and he actually apparently left his manuscript of Under Milkwood under his chair here in the pub.
He forgot it.
He forgot it and left it behind. I mean, I guess he got it back because it now exists. And they also are famous for another thing, which is that they only sell half pints. So that's what I've got here.
I've
You've
got
a cider.
a French cider. Very
Ooh,
excited.
very appropriate.
Cheers.
Cheers. So we're going to play a game. Talking of Dylan Thomas, we're going to play a poetry game here.
Okay. I'm not good at poetry.
No, me neither. So this might, we'll see how this turns out. So start off by just writing one line.
Yeah.
And then we're going to swap and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I'm really scared. Okay, ready? Okay, so we're going to swap poems.
Okay.
Now we're going to write the line to finish off that couplet.
Yeah.
And then fold it over and start a new couplet.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, you did go for a hard one to rhyme
I'm
with.
sorry.
I'm giving you a hard one to rhyme with now.
How can I rhyme with this word?
I know.
This is horrible.
Okay.
we're
Should we swap
ready.
to read them out?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go.
Oh no. We're sharing a morning with literary heroes. Compared to them, we're just a couple of zeros. Well, I am at least, some will soon be famous. We simply can't help it. You mustn't blame us.
Oh, good rhyme.
After watching our tour, we hope you're inspired to follow in their footsteps before you're old and tired. That's I like it.
That was good. Okay. In the French house on a summer's day, London's great poets come out to play. They found inspiration and a pint or two, but when they drank too much, they needed the loo. That's why the French house only serves half glasses, so we won't embarrass ourselves in front of anyone who passes. I love that. I feel like they both worked really well. We now have contributed to the literary canon of this place.
Excellent.
These poems will probably be famous now.
100%.
So now we're just going to finish up our drinks before we go to our final destination.
So, where are we heading next?
We are off to our final destination,
Okay.
the George Inn. This is a very Shakespearean pub.
I'm very excited.
Have you been there before?
No, I haven't been to any of the places that we've been to today.
great.
Very
Nice
excited.
to meet
And I've been in London for 6 years.
This one's really cool. It looks very old and literary. You just get there and you're like, Shakespeare probably was here.
Perfect.
So cheers to our final destination.
Cheers. We've switched to gin and tonic.
So this is the George Inn, and this is possibly the most literary pub in all of London. It's got so many amazing connections. Number one being Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare, I can't say he definitely came here. Apparently there's actually no documented proof of any of the pubs that he went to. So
Okay.
we don't know anything. But he very, very probably came here. And there's a historian called Pete Brown who's written a book about this pub called Shakespeare's Local. And he said in the book, or in the interviews about the book, that he would bet the entire contents of his drink cellar that Shakespeare did have a pint here at some
Alright.
point. So I feel like I want to believe
We'll
that.
take it, yeah.
And probably there's a lovely courtyard outside, probably had his plays performed out there. I brought a lovely book with me of Shakespeare's sonnets.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, well, look, there are probably people reciting those here at some point. So that's number one.
Okay.
A few hundred years down the line, Charles Dickens also definitely knew about this place because he's mentioned it by name in Little Dorrit. And then there's a fictionalized version of what's clearly this pub in Our Mutual Friend.
Okay.
So he definitely knows it.
Charles Dickens just went all over town,
I
visited
think-
all the pubs.
I think he drank everywhere. There's one that's so nearly a really cool literary story. So Chaucer started writing the Canterbury Tales next door. So there used to be a different pub next door.
Yeah.
And that's where he wrote it. But that pub doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So basically,
I think that's my
He wrote
favorite
it.
though. I love a bit of Chaucer. So,
yeah. And also I do have one more fact.
Okay.
There is a poet called John Men, and he wrote a poem all about getting too drunk at the George and being sick. So that's maybe the best of all
It's
of them.
very well documented.
Yeah. People love it here. So we have been to quite a few of the
Yes.
best literary pubs so far. There's so many more. There's the Grapes in Limehouse, which is actually mentioned in Picture of Dorian Gray.
Oh.
So that's a good one. Yeah, there's I love that they're mentioned by names in books. That's really fun. So I think a lot of these books I read when I was at school before I lived in London, and I wouldn't have picked up on
Recognise
it.
them,
So I want to
yeah.
go back and read them now and be like, oh, I've drunk there. I've had a gin and tonic there. Which has been your favourite of the places we've been?
I actually think this is probably the nicest one. It's also really nice and sunny outside. You can see the beautiful light here.
It's
It's
so
really
nice.
big. And I mean, so many famous people have been here.
Yeah, you just
It's gonna
feel
be
like
the favourite.
you're walking in
Yeah.
their footsteps. So that was Book Break's first ever pub crawl, but do leave us a comment below letting us know your favourite bookish location that we haven't been to yet. Always looking for more places to go and visit. And of course do follow Sanne. I will link to her YouTube channel in the description box below. And you can also follow us over on Instagram at BookBreakUK, and I'll post all of our fun behind the scenes stuff over there.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been very fun.
It has, it's been a great day. Cheers again.
Cheers.
And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And of course hit that subscribe button below for new videos every week. And coming up next week we've got a video all about books about obsession. See you next time.
Bye.